And we continue to follow the breaking news tonight out of Lytton, BC. After days of the highest temperatures ever recorded in Canada, a wildfire swept into the village as residents fled.
The whole town is on fire. I've ordered the town evacuated, and I've told everyone as I was leaving town to leave. It took like a whole 15 minutes from, the first sign of smoke to all of a sudden there being fire, everywhere.
Katie Nicholson is one of our journalists working this story. She's in our newsroom here in Vancouver. And what's the latest information you have?
We've been speaking with Cheryl James. She's one of the many evacuees who went to Lillooet. So she and about 30 others are in a recreational center there. And, when this happened, she had a brief conversation with her son, who's on the local fire department at Lytton. And, he said, you go. And she took her daughter and left him behind. And hasn't heard from him since. She's been in Lytton now she's rather been in Lillooet for a couple of hours and hasn't heard any word yet about her son. She's very worried about him because, of course, we have seen how devastating and how fast moving that fire is. Here is Cheryl James.
Scared. He told me to leave. And I told him he better not stay. Too late.
Now, James is there with, again, her daughter and actually her boss and his wife, some of the people who sort of went that way up north to Lillooet. There are others who went to Merritt. We're hearing that some people dispersed to Kamloops. It really was just sort of a panic situation. You have 15 minutes from when the smoke became really bad to the town becoming engulfed in flames. So, we are hearing about people just not even processing this yet, but also there's that fear, there is grief, and that uncertainty as to what is left behind. Is anything left behind? I've been also speaking with firefighters. We know the call has gone out to municipal firefighters. There are about more than 41 fires raging in the province right now, and 26 of those had started in the last 2 days, all attributed to these super tinder dry conditions that came out of the heat dome. So, there are going to be more people out there in the trenches, so to speak. And, that is also it's an elaborate thing to try to plan resource-wise. You've got to get water out there. You've got to be careful with the heat exhaustion for the crews who are out there. So, there is a massive effort underway. And, we know that the conditions right now so extreme for fire danger that this is an unfolding story that we're going to have to just keep watching. And, there is fear all around in these communities tonight for those who have fled and those who are still smelling smoke, even in the communities where they have moved to.
All right. Katie, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Imagine having to leave your home in as little as 15 minutes. What do you even grab, and what do you think when you're not sure what's going to be there when you get back? So a lot of people tonight in British Columbia in different places, as Katie mentioned, after they fled Lytton. One of them, Bernice Abbott. She joins me from the evacuation center in Lillooet. Bernice, thanks for joining us. First of all, how are you feeling tonight?
Anxiety is high. We're still trying to get into contact with family and friends. We're here at the Lillooet Community Center, and people are coming in and they're, signing in their name, and there's a number that they can be reached at. The community here has been very supportive, and we've got donations of clothes, towels, beds, blankets, tents. They've got food here for us, snacks, toys, books for the kids. I looked at the list, and there's probably about 2 people who've already signed in already, leaving their name and number for contact.
Mm-hmm. So were you in Lytton when the fire hit?
Well, it's been burning for a couple of days, and then my family and we went out of town, and when we got back to Lytton, um, yeah, the village of Lytton itself was engulfed in flames. We got home. We had about 15 minutes to grab whatever we could and leave.
So how do you, what do you decide to do in that situation, Bernice? 15 minutes, what did you take?
I immediately went and got all our ID. I had it all in one place, so I had the kids' ID, and the kids just got back from being at a relative's house, so they had their bags packed already. So it was a matter of just my partner and I getting our bags and going.
And you know, as we're talking to you, we're watching some video taken presumably by someone else. They're driving along the road, and it's really smoky, and you can see buildings on fire. Describe for us what you saw in Lytton as you left.
The community was engulfed by flames and smoke, and you couldn't really see what was burning. But you know, it's homes, it's businesses, and there's so much on Facebook, so many videos and everything, and it's devastating.
Do you think your house is intact, or what do you think the status of your home is?
From what I've heard, it sounds like my health should be okay, but you know, you never know if the wind changes, but that could change.
And so, where will your family be sleeping tonight?
I am not sure.
Well, we wish you...
We've grabbed some sleeping bags, and they have mattresses and air mattresses set up all around the gym here. So some people might be sleeping here.
Well, it's a tough night, obviously, for a lot of people, including you and your family. And I appreciate you speaking with us this evening, Bernice. Thank you very much, and I wish you luck. I hope your house obviously came through this okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, good night.
Yeah, good night.
You're watching The National on CBC Television, CBC News Network. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to our breaking news coverage of the wildfire in and around Lytton, British Columbia. Still waiting for word on the extent to which the structures in Lytton were damaged. But as we heard earlier from the mayor, he described the entire village as being engulfed by fire. Earlier this evening, I spoke to Brad Viz, the MP for Mission Matsqui Fraser Canyon, who shared with us what he knows of what was happening there, including what evacuees should be doing.
The situation's really dire, and the Mayor Polderman, in a matter of 15 minutes, had to get out of town and issue an evacuation alert. I've been working closely with the TNRD this evening. We were successful in getting an alert out. TNRD was successful in getting an alert out recently to let people know who evacuated Lytton to head over to Merritt on Coldwater Road to the evacuation center and to register. So right now, in real time, people are just doing everything possible to make sure that everyone is safe from the village of Lytton and the Lytton First Nation as well.
And so those initials you mentioned are the regional district, which is basically the equivalent of the municipal government in that area. And you know, a lot of people from British Columbia who are watching this now are you know, concerned about this fire. And there's some very basic questions, and maybe you have some information on this. First of all, what about the village of Lytton itself? What is the extent of the damage there?
The extent of the damage is still ongoing, but what I've heard from the TNRD is that it's very bad. And I've been hearing from constituents directly too who have already lost their homes. The situation really is dire, Ian.
And what about the status of people who were there? Are the authorities confident that everyone got out safely?
I don't have up-to-date information. All I can say, what I've been told, is that the situation is dire, and the authorities are trying to account for everyone right now. And that's why it's really important that all evacuees go to Merritt to register as soon as possible, to get online and follow what the TNRD is saying, to make sure that authorities can account for everyone in this situation right now.
Brad Viz is the MP for the region. It's actually a pretty big riding, but includes the Lytton area, and he spoke to us from Abbotsford tonight. And the emergency number for anyone who may need help, but also for people just to register so that loved ones know that they're safe and sound. The Thompson-Nicola Regional District Emergency Operations Center on your screen, but I'll read it out loud. 250-377-7188 or 1-866-377-7188. So behind this heat has been the deadly impact across much of Western Canada is the heat dome. That's the term that meteorologists have been using. But what exactly is a heat dome? And what combination of factors led to this unprecedented weather event? Here's our meteorologist, Johanna Wagstaff, with the answers.
If you're feeling the unprecedented heat in Canada right now, you're probably wondering why. Why is this happening? It's a heat dome, and that's standard for summer, but there are 4 main ingredients to why this pressure cooker is breaking records. First, recent storms in the Western Pacific. That created a wave in this atmospheric conveyor belt called the jet stream. And look at this movement of water vapor from space. You can see once that wave got to BC, it parked itself there, ushering in moisture, giving BC a humidity it usually doesn't feel. The effect was also felt far higher, melting snow and ice on the tops of our highest mountains. So that's hot. It gets hotter with thermal lows. When it's hot enough, rapidly rising air causes low pressure on the ground. Winds move from high to low, so that hot air rushes towards the coast, racing down our mountains. If you've heard of Chinooks, it's the same principle. Third, cooking time. This weather pattern got locked in place, allowing hot air to keep mixing down, making every day hotter than the next. The final ingredient, time of the year. It's June, meaning a higher sun angle and more hours of the day, but also it's what's not here this time of the year. Smoke from forest fire season would actually have helped dissipate the rays from the sun. So what does all of this have to do with climate change? Well, remember the jet stream? Normally it looks like this, helping to keep weather patterns moving around the world. But now it's even wavier, and that leads to weather events lasting longer and moving slower. As climate change rapidly warms the Arctic, it's making that warp worse. The temperature difference between the north and the south is getting smaller, and it's that difference that fuels the speed of the jet stream. We know that climate change is also moving the baseline. As average temperatures go up, it means these extreme weather events we're feeling are going to be back, stronger and more often. Johanna Wagstaff, CBC News, Vancouver.
And we'll have more on the latest information about the Lytton wildfire after the break. Harrowing pictures out of Lytton, BC, as residents escaped a fast-moving wildfire. About 250 people live in the village, and it's been under an extreme heat warning for the last few days. Anita Bath has been working the phones for us from the newsroom this evening, and you've heard some stories about the chaos as people tried to get out.
Yeah, chaos and panic is really the best words to describe the situation, Ian. You know, that evacuation order came down and people were told that they needed to get out. Some were able to grab belongings, others got nothing and just drove the heck out of town. You know, they described to me driving through the town and seeing some of those structures in flames, worried that those flames would catch up to them and driving as fast as they could. One woman we spoke with, she was completely in tears. She talked about the sadness that comes with losing her photo albums, all of those memories that she created over the years. She wasn't worried about any other belongings. It was really all of those pictures that tie her to the community. And, you know, Ian, we see all of the footage and the photos of the flames, and it's horrifying for us here in the CBC Vancouver News studios. But imagine those people watching those videos and watching the flames in real time, watching their town burn down, and the feelings of sadness that they're getting tonight with all of that.
And Anita, what have you learned about where the evacuees are and what they need tonight?
At this point, we know that some have gone to Hope, but for the most part, people have gone to Kamloops, Merritt, and Lillooet. And these are the centers set up by two of the tribal councils in the area who say they're quite upset. They feel like they haven't gotten a lot of help. Now, they are asking for supplies tonight. They want food. They say they need water, clothing, and especially shelter. They also really need volunteers to help process all of these evacuees and match them with hotels and other accommodation. Overall, they're just really frustrated tonight and they're looking for help, Ian.
All right, Anita, thank you very much. And we'll be back right after this.